additions, corrections, alterations? Okay, I'll second that.
Riley.
Yes.
EJ.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, very abbreviated version of the minutes from the meeting on the 29th. Additions, corrections. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Riley.
Yes.
EJ.
Yes. Okay, we're going to get to our monthly schedule. Our scheduled reports include Frank Kitco, our zoning inspector.
Okay, gentlemen, you've all had that's fine. Report, so the month of December and also the total for the year. We only processed 2 applications for the month of December. Staff budget activity spent roughly 2.5 hours with lawyers and preparation for the case with the auto services situation. For the year, we processed 120 applications, and what they're reading on is accessory buildings. There's a total there of 38 accessory buildings for the year. Didn't have too many crowds, so I'm moving around to agree. 5 crowds, excuse me. So that's about it. I know this is going to be a long meeting, so if you have questions, that's it.
Okay, any questions from the board? From the audience? Anybody? Zoning related? All right, thank you, Mr. Kitco. Move on to our regular report from Mike Fencer.
The Auburn Township road report for first January here. The month of December was a pretty hectic month with several snow events. We plowed 19 days out of December. We dropped about 19 of those days. We ran 38 rounds salt and plowing. We used about 941 tons of salt.
That's today.
No, that's just for December.
Just for December.
It's typical that the most we've used in December the last 20 years was about 664 tons. That's in the last 20 years the most we've used. So we're way above what we should be. The total salt usage as of the end of December is 1,244 tons. The total salt usage as of today is about 1,350 tons. We average about 1,800 tons a year for the entire year, or maybe a third of the way through the year. So what we're doing is we've got to cut back. We've got to slow down on the usage. And the only way we can do that is to mainly concentrate on the through streets. Developments will have some salt. They're not going to be perfect. They're not going to look like the through roads. They have to start back. You have to, before the winter, you have to give an order number to the state before the season. So you take what you typically average and you add a little bit on, and you say, this is how much we want. They put it out the bid, and that's how you get it. You don't just keep buying it. You only get a lot of amount, so we have to conserve so we don't run out. When we start running real low, we go to hills, intersections, and curves, and that's it. We don't want to get to that point. But we're doing okay, but we're really cutting back. And you're gonna see it mainly in the
I think right now, probably the sound of oranges, because, we could quite a
Sir, could you speak up?
Yeah.
I cannot hear you at all.
Yeah, rather than sound the alarm on whether or not we're short on salt. When we bid this, this, we're at about 2,000 tons with a 10% overage.
I put it to 2,100 ton, we have 1,900, and we can go 15% over, so we can buy 2,400 tons. And we had about 900 in the dome, so we have about 3,000 we can use, but we'd like to have salt carry over next year, and I don't know if we'll have that or not, so.
We may not, we're not quite in the dire straits.
No,
We're a little beyond 50-some%, maybe 55, but what we should have available,
We were about a third of the way through the winter. That's
I
not
think so, yeah. I think, hopefully.
Yeah. That's pretty much, that's the main discussion I want to have is the salt usage. And we are cutting back, and you may notice on some of the roads. We did have some truck repairs, obviously we put several hoses on 2 of the trucks, mainly on snow plows, cutting edges, we're burning up cutting edges also. We replaced one on a pickup truck. We want to replace one on a big truck, but they're back ordered for, I want to say like 8 weeks or so. We're using the spare plow on one of our main trucks because it's got a good cutting edge. And the only other thing I want to talk about was PJ, Deanna, and I, we did have a meeting with the engineers to discuss next year's road projects. They wanted to go through that in detail and just talk about what the upcoming projects next year. We talked about that as well. It's a new, something they're initiating up with the engineers to get together ahead of time and just talk to everybody, see if there's any little issues with anything on these roads that we need to be aware of before they go out to bid. We did have that meeting.
Yeah, I really appreciate getting invited to that. I learned a lot. Of course, I didn't know anything going into it other than I paid a bill. But it was
Yeah, they
good.
explain everything in detail.
Yeah,
They're
very
good.
good. They do a good job.
Yeah, they do.
You gave them we're what, a year behind in projects in terms of where we should be?
Yeah, we like to do 4 miles of road a year, and last year we were unable to do 4 miles. We did 2 developments last year instead of 4 miles, so, yeah, we're a little bit behind. Probably 3/4 of the year, I would say.
But it's, you did a nice job giving them the projects, the roads. They did a nice job coming back on what we need. Good thing we didn't have to do reconstruction.
Yeah, that's Andy Hout, the new county engineer. This is his first year. And in hindsight, looking back, fiscal officers have to sign so much paperwork whenever we do a road project or an issue 2 project or an WC project. It's probably high time that the fiscal officers were included at some point. So, yeah, thank you for that.
In general, how are roads holding up?
They first started to heat up, you could feel they were getting pretty bumpy. And then we got one more month, they settled down. Hopefully they settle down this week a little bit, but it's rough on this cold weather. You plow the snow off, and now the ground's going to freeze more. So the roads take the worst, they get the frost more than anything else. Yeah, they were pretty rough.
Okay, any further questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? Yeah.
Yeah. How many trucks do we have, salt trucks?
Oh, we have 5. We have 5 Class A or Class B CDO trucks, and we have 1 low pro that doesn't require CDO. And then
Can you hear that?
Yeah, 5 and 1.
We have 5 large.
Are they all active or not?
We'd like to keep them that
I
way.
mean, do we have staff to drive all 5? when
We
there's-
have the 1 large CDL truck's a spare, but right now we sold the plow off of that, put on another truck. No, that's our spare truck in case one goes down. All the other trucks are used.
Okay, so we're using 4 trucks and then the low truck
Yes.
and then pickup trucks for small intersections, stuff like that.
No, we don't use a pickup truck for anything except for like cemeteries.
Okay.
But typically it doesn't go out unless we're down on, last year we only had 3 trucks running, they were all down, we were using the pickup truck for intersections and that.
Okay. I'm only asking, I mean, like, when the snow flies, it's difficult. We're not responsible for 44, I know that.
No.
It was weird because I live in Ascot Park and like my development was loud, and I was like, well, this is great, I'm not complaining about that, but I hit Washington, and it was horrible. And I was kind of like, so why is the priority on my development? Which, again, I'm not complaining, it was nice, but it was like, Washington wasn't even, there was people all over the place. I'm like,
So we just do township roads, this is just the township roads, and Washington's a county road.
so Washington isn't done.
We do not do that.
So what's the main road that we did?
What's
Like
that?
you're doing, like Stafford,
Yeah, Stafford,
Auburn.
Range.
No, we don't do Auburn.
No, we do county road.
Stafford, Taylor Lane, Bartholomew, Wing,
Crackle, Range.
Feel like the main, the interchange.
Those are our names.
yes.
So that makes sense. I mean, I was just curious, because it was kind of like Washington, I didn't think that was.
Yeah, sometimes we get our developments done and we're like, we feel like we're making the public think the roads are safe and we're driving home on some of these county roads a little scary, you know?
Yeah. That's why I didn't want to complain and feel like, what, you know.
You can call the county, I can give you the number.
Listen, I got four-wheel drive, it doesn't really matter to me, I just feel bad for some of these people that I'm like passing at 25 and they're going 5, you know, it's like, why are you even out, you know? So I didn't know if we were responsible.
Yeah, the roads that are plowed are the township roads, the ones that aren't plowed are your county, understand?
Okay, I was just curious.
And we have a structural order.
Yeah, we're replacing that low pro with a new one. We're just crossing our fingers that we get this low pro through the season.
Okay.
And then we have a brand new one that we're going to establish. It's a non-CDL, or it's under that GBO for CDL.
What's the delivery now in a truck in general compared to what it was 5 years
It
ago?
used to be about 10 months in the old days, but it's probably a year and a half.
It's been more. Okay, anyone else? Question? Yep.
Since the developments are going to start to be shunted down a little bit as far as snow plowing, will you let them know what's going on?
We're not going to not snow plow, we're just going to turn the salt down. So instead of maybe seeing pavement, you know, berm to berm,
Right.
you're going to see pavement in the center, and the outside edge may have some snow.
I was just wondering if you're going to let them know that it's not a neglect thing, it's just an economic thing, so they don't start turning on you.
I think they call it, just let them know where, you know, what our thoughts are.
Yeah, a lot of this is conditional on the rest of the winter. too.
The winter could turn around and we could be okay, and it's not gonna happen, but I just wanna put that in case we have to take that route.
Pickup truck would plow the development fine, big way. It would plow the development just fine.
Yeah, we like to use, we got.
I mean, plow more cost effective.
Yeah, except you have to do 2 rounds, it's only an 8-foot blade, we use 11-foot blades, so we can do it in 1 round. So now you're leveling up,
Yeah.
and you're burning up the cutting edge, and you can't salt real well with a pickup truck.
Well, if you're not salting, that's what I'm saying.
If you don't salt, you freeze up and get ice, so you gotta really you gotta put some salt.
Right, the intersection. Right, okay. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Thank you, Michael. We will move on to some reports. Let's start with Mike Tryman, right?
I haven't received my time since we've been need that time for the organizational meeting.
Yeah, I can agree. Riley? Same here. Okay, Dan, what you got?
Yeah, since we just had our year-end meeting last Monday, the 29th, since then I didn't have any electronic payments to process, but I did have 8 warrants totaling $438.70. After I completed the December bank reconciliation, we have $208,234.19 in our primary checking account as of December 31st. And in our Star Ohio investment account, we have $2,028,654.35 for a total $2,236,888.54. And that's all I have.
Okay. A couple things on the agenda that I'm wishing or new. Is that electrification grant, Dan, from NOPEC, or is that's the community grant that we've been distributing to the 4-H clubs, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. There's several youth clubs, 4-H clubs that meet at Township buildings. They're based in Auburn to some degree or another, and we've been splitting up that $1,500 grant from NOPEC to work to those clubs. So that's what's on the agenda. We also have a quote for the languishing repair to Auburn Town Hall due to an accident back in, I believe it was early August, that kind of wiped out the front entrance. We looked into the straight-up repair, and we took into consideration an improvement. This is an insurance job by and large. We've received our insurance check from the party at fault. And the intention is to include a ramp to assist in entrance for handicapped or elderly individuals that use Town Hall, which gets a lot of use. We're hearing about it now that it's been unavailable now for 4+ months. And our intention is to submit this set of plans. The cost for such plans is $2,000 to the building department in order to get all necessary permits and schedule inspections through the repair project for the Town Hall front porch repairs and improvements. The additional cost is $2,000. That's through GW Construction. We saw some quotes. He was by far the lowest, remains the only one interested. And the total construction of that was $23,300. This would be in addition to that for the other $2,000 for the plans and permitting and schedule inspections. So I'm going to make a motion to approve that bill through GW Construction.
Discussion?
Yeah, it's discussion.
The other bidder was Caves Road Construction, and from the start, the bid they submitted wasn't understood well. The price does come out lower by a couple thousand, and they were the only contractor to actually walk us through the entire scope of work because we didn't request it in the first place. So there's 2 pages of details on how they were going to build everything, and we still don't have a scope of work from GW, so I'm very uncomfortable spending more money with GW and we don't have any scope of work on file. That's all I want to say.
Okay, handicap compliant ramp. That was all.
There was no damage to the building?
There was some minimal damage, nothing structural.
Right.
Wiped out the porch. It moved a couple of foundation stones under the southeast corner, but
Little siding damage also.
some siding damage. Yeah, nothing in there. Pretty good.
Is there a basement in that building? Is there a basement in that building?
There's a partial, not on that end. The back at the north end. There's a crawl space which I've been in. There's an actual stand-up basement, but it's only on the north end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're just building a ramp, basically?
We're building a ramp, yeah.
Concrete, composite, what are they doing?
It's asphalt and concrete.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they're going to match, there's going to be some brick structure there to match the south facade of the building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Okay, got a motion and a second.
Are they gonna rebid that?
No, I have no intention of rebid that. We are, it's not it's a repair, which does not require a bidding process at any degree. This is a local contractor that we've done some work with, always been satisfied with them, and I trust that we're on the right track here. With the offset of the insurance money, we're looking at an actual handicap accessible building, which we've never had, for something like $6,000. I think it's overdue. Okay, so we have a motion second.
Discussion. We're planning to get an ADA ramp after we chased GW down several times to confirm that on the paperwork. We will not get an ADA rail. And that's an important distinction because having the ramp without the rail does not make sense. because with the wheelchair, there's 2 heights of handrails. So without that, I'm not really sure why the ramp becomes critical without the adjoining rail system. On the Caves Road bid, they walk through all scenarios: ADA ramp, non-ADA, compliant rails, non-compliant rails, basically giving us all sorts of options. Apples to apples, their quote is $2,450 less, and it includes a scope of work, which we still don't have from the other contractor. And yes, it has been a very long time. I've been watching this go through the summer. I just started 5 days ago, but I have been keeping track of this very well. That's all I can say.
From my standpoint, when we got the first quote, in the meeting we discussed an ADA ramp, but the quote didn't have ADA in it. It just said ramp. And we discovered that when we were doing the minutes. And so I called the vendor and I said, you know, we discussed an ADA ramp. Is that included in this? And he said, yes. So I assumed that the pricing included an ADA compliant ramp, because I asked him. Then he calls back and he contacts us a day or two later, and then he adds $3,000 to it and put ADA in front of the ramp. So I'm not comfortable from a financial standpoint as to, you know, what's he going to charge next? And
Which company is that?
pardon me?
GW?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about, right?
So, I mean, I don't know. I have no.
You've got permit plans, so now he's got to do what's exactly in that permit plans, which he didn't have before, so how can you fix that?
Well, this was considered to be much like what we did on the north side of our administration building a few years back, which is we took out some fairly rickety wooden stairs and replaced them with a steel, different treads, different risers, different dimensions. And that was considered a repair through the building department, in their opinion. We contacted everything on this. Goes back, I'm thinking, 5 years maybe. We ended up having to pour new footers because, well, this was a completely different set of stairs. It had a partial and then a second steep elevation, and we had to do plans for that too, which our concrete person hand drew those, and at that point they were satisfactory for the building department. In this case, probably because it's so front and center to the township, the building department is quite interested in this. So that's why we went with this completed set of plans to satisfy all potential needs.
So for us laymen's that work in class, how do you bid a job without a scope of work or a written statement of what you were bidding on?
It's not a bid job, it's a repair job. Much like if you're putting a new roof on, say, this place, you don't.
I think you're taking bid the wrong way. Quote the job.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
how
what
do you
we
quote a
have
job beyond plans?
A repair doesn't require a permit. You're repairing a deck. It doesn't require. And something else to look at too, you said $2,000 for permits? That's a little steep.
Is the guy
For the plans and permits.
That's not for permits, that's for permits and the drawings.
So he gave you a drawing but no scope of work.
It's because GW never provided a good scope of work or plan, so the additional $2,000 as it reads is to hire an architect.
Oh, to add plans.
Draw
Draw the plans to satisfy the building.
Meanwhile, Caves was comfortable because they do municipal work a lot, and they gave us the plans ahead of time.
Yeah.
Well, you know, a handicap ramp,
Yeah.
Usually you don't need a permit too, if you
There's
can't.
2 pages of exactly how they're going to do it. I have it. It's really detailed. Footers, thickness, concrete. They talk about rebuilding the entire footer. GW's not. They're going to reuse, and I quote,
The first quote, what happened with that company?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
As far as I know, Nancy tried to get a hold of them, and they finally said, we don't want to even deal with this project anymore.
Yeah.
So the only bidder we have right now is GW.
That was hearsay. We didn't ask for anything on paper from them, and they are interested. They always were.
Well, they haven't contacted the office about that, so you know something we don't know, right?
But a handicap ramp, by its very nature, has to have a railing. That's intrinsic. And then, depending on height and length, you also have to have sometimes two rails, one on each side, or at least a curb system to keep walkers and wheelchairs from going off the edge. That should be addressed with all that, so you know that that's part of what you're getting.
Yeah, it's gonna look like the handicap ramp in front of, with different dimensions, because it's a shorter rise, as the museum building down here on the left.
Cool.
You're asking about the rail?
Correct.
Yeah, we're not getting an ADA rail with GW. Only on caves is it listed.
Well, it's not ADA then.
Correct.
Correct. That's what he's saying.
Only a ramp.
We have an ADA ramp around here.
You can't.
I couldn't hear you.
How can you have an ADA ramp without rails?
That's a phenomenal question.
That wouldn't even be safe as a,
But the GW, I thought you said GW didn't quote with rails.
ADA compliant rails are not quoted with GW, they are quoted with caves. So we didn't specify if we're going to get ADA rails along with the ADA ramp, two different things. We only know that we're going to get an ADA ramp with GW now, but a new rail to be a close match to the prior rail, which was not ADA. Caves has spelled out that we can choose ADA, non-ADA, iron to match the cemetery, no iron, we get to pick the powder coating. I mean, they provided a lot of specific details for us to work through this. And the price is lower with the apples to apples, it's lower.
Per conversation just before Christmas, Caves Road is not interested in this project anymore.
Right, because he's screwed around so much.
There's no documents on that. I'd like to see an email or something,
I
but
mean, either way, it's gotta be ADA. The building inspector's gonna come out, and if he puts something up that isn't right, he's gonna tear it down.
well, it should be. We're trying to get an overall improvement.
I mean, that's the point of the permit.
You know, I can speak from some personal knowledge. I went to a lady's 90th birthday party up there last year, where, I'm gonna say maybe a quarter of the people needed help getting in and out of that last stop. This will solve that problem.
Accepting a bid from accepting a quote from a contractor with a higher price without knowing for sure if Cave Road the lower price that has more detail in their quote wouldn't make any sense without at least having some conclusion as to whether they're able to do the job or not. Shouldn't the decision be postponed until we can get concrete answers on all of these issues?
Which we did. This has all been sussed out in the last 2 months. Well,
Okay,
through the
Mr.
office.
Riley's asking for some proof, some evidence that Cave Road is not interested, and he's saying they are interested, he's spoken with them. You don't have anything that's telling us they're not interested. Why not give them a chance if it's going to save the
Well, I have
township?
a personal phone call, so.
Riley, do you have evidence that they are still interested?
I do.
How recent? Has that been shown
Friday
to the
afternoon.
rest of?
Same question to PJ. How recent
With Caves,
that they are interested?
they were not interested for Christmas.
So it seems we have a conflict of opinion here. So table it to the next one.
I think we're not going to get an ADA rail out of this, and we're not going to get footers, and we're going to have to look at this for, I don't know how long it'll last, 50 years. And we had 6 months to hammer down on this and call for a simple work session or just get some stuff on paper a little better. And we didn't. I couldn't help at the time, but I'm here to help now. That's all I got.
But you could have been a concerned citizen and sat in on these meetings and made sure all this stuff was done. You knew you were running for trustee 6 months ago.
That's a great point. I was actually the one that discovered that the quote was misread in the first place months ago, and I mentioned it. So I have been as involved as I could be, but I couldn't force the hand of the township to investigate more, get more data. I wasn't in a position. Who is managing this? Is it Nancy? Ms. Dozel? So our secretary,
To some degree, yes.
she's the one that took the phone call, and allegedly where Caves didn't want to do it anymore. But again, I've never seen any, she's managing the project, I haven't seen any paperwork from her directly. I just have, the quotes keep changing here, and this quote never changed, and it's always been extremely accurate and revealing.
That's Friday.
No, this never changed.
Just got it on Friday, right?
No, I confirmed on Friday that they were still posted. The quote's been around since August 18th. This quote has changed several times, but the most updated was November, and it's been going on a long time.
Is there any harm in postponing the decision until next meeting? Is there any major delay?
Frankly, probably not. I doubt any ground's going to be getting broken anytime soon, other than it's
Give it till next meeting. to get-
It's another bureaucratic step back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just get a scope of work from both places.
So April's when they can realistically start.
I mean, it's plenty of time to get it resolved, to make sure you have apples to apples, all the information in place.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, well, re-quote it, re-compliance.
Best way to do it. Say this is what I want.
Yeah, I will say we have some regularly scheduled users in that town hall that we were able to, I think we were able to find an alternate venue for their weekly meeting. At least it seems to have been put in motion last week. So if that's a consideration, is the building being used? Yes, it's a consideration.
But it's not gonna get fixed until spring.
Yeah, you wouldn't think there are going to be more too many floors in January, no? All right, I do have a motion in a second. That requires a vote. So the motion and second is to hire GW contracting in order for permitting and submit plans for all permitting and schedule inspections through the repair project for town hall front porch repairs. If we wish to table that, I'll entertain a vote of no, because the motion is always in the affirmative. Yeah.
Vote for no to table, yes for me.
That would imply a table, yeah.
PJ?
I'll vote
Fine.
So the motion is to table the,
Yeah, the motion was what I read, and the vote was no. Therefore, the intent is to table until further paperwork. Okay, we're going to move into the actual organizational part of the meeting tonight. Very lengthy. But we will start by electing for the 2026 calendar year a chairman. And, yes.
People are always curious, how the chairman thing works. Who's chairman, who's vice chairman? And it's pretty simple, we alternate. And then we alternate the vice chairman position. So even though we're voting and making motions on what goes in, it's basically whose turn. So it has nothing to do with who's in power or anything else, it's just whose turn.
Yeah, call meeting to order, get adjourned, more or less.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much it. Okay, so.
Can I add?
Sure, go ahead.
In the past, you guys take turns reading the page, make a motion, and the same one seconds. So the next guy reads the second page, you want to continue that?
Pretty much, depends on when the throat gets dry, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because it helps.
Okay. All right, keep that too.
It's a lot easier.
That is done. Okay. I will make a motion for Mike Troyan to serve as chairman for this calendar year.
I'll second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Okay.
And we said I'll turn it over to you, Mike.
Okay. All right, Vice Chairman, currently PJ, make a motion for Riley Davis to take the position of Vice Chairman.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yep.
Mike.
Yes. Okay, with that out of the way, I'll start rock and roll with some of this stuff. The way I normally do this as going through it, I'm just going to make a motion myself on these pages. Anybody wants to make any changes, discussion, whatever, a lot of this is just pretty much straightforward. So trustee meeting dates and times, currently 7 p.m., first and third Monday of each month, January through December. I'd like to make a motion to continue on that schedule for 2026.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Meeting protocol, I'd like to make a motion that in accordance with trustees' request, that anyone who wants to be on the agenda, give any of the trustees, fiscal officer, or the office administrator 1 week advance notice. Reporters are asked to hold their questions to the end of the meeting.
Second.
Discussion.
Okay.
Good discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a motion in second, so yeah, that's the window.
Would it be wise to consider striking reporters are asked to hold their questions to the end of the meeting? The reason being, especially with meetings this lengthy, it's really hard to track your questions and go back to the issue. I'm not sure if we formally enforce that or not, but I figured it was a good time to just strike it since we're deciding all these things live right now.
Well, in general, reporters haven't had a problem with that, and it's just out of courtesy, that's the way they normally work. If they have any questions, they address them during the meeting. If they start bringing them in the middle of the meeting, they're interfering with the comments of the people who actually live here, putting ideas in, so their questions typically, I mean, there you go. We have any reporters in the audience? What's your opinion on that?
I think it'd be great to be able to ask you questions now and then.
Who asked you?
I second that.
See, that's why you don't ask.
I'd like to make a motion to strike reporters are asked to hold their questions to the end of the meeting.
I have no problem. So I will second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ.
Well, okay, so that would be your amendment, that motion. Yeah, you're amending that motion that we already
So we'll
did
do
a
this.
motion in a second.
Okay, so forget my original motion. We'll take that, strike that. Orders, we have some questions. We have the meeting. Okay, I'd like to revise my motion. In accordance with trustees' request that anyone wants to be on the agenda, give any of the trustees, the fiscal officer, or the office administrator 1 week advance notice.
I'll second.
Motion.
That's the amended motion. Riley seconded. Roll Okay.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ.
Sure.
Mike.
Yes. Questions from reporters? Okay, videotaping meetings. In accordance with videotaping public meetings in Auburn Township is permitted, provided videotaping does not interfere, obstruct, or otherwise disturb the proceedings. Video equipment must be set up on the designated area and done in an unobtrusive manner. No artificial photographic lighting shall be permitted. The equipment used must be operated silently.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Sunshine Law, in accordance with Senate Bill number 74, Sunshine Law, a fee of $52 be paid in advance annually plus a self-addressed stamped envelope by any person requesting advance notification of meetings. This resolution does not apply to the news media.
Okay, I'll second it.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ.
Yep.
Mike.
Yes. Okay, zoning inspector appointment. Make a motion to appoint Frank.
We got a
Mike, we skipped.
We got a media of choice.
Media of choice? Oh, I changed it. Okay, media of choice. Media of choice would be the www.auburntownship.com and the Maple Leaf Primary and the News Herald as needed.
Yes, second.
Discussion.
Yes.
It's my understanding the News Herald really is Lake County. We don't use them a lot, maybe exclusive to zoning, but they don't run stuff down here for us, the stuff that goes into zoning. And then secondly, Chagrin Valley Times, they tend to write and keep track of a lot of stuff locally, and they're not included, so
The difference is weekly and daily. If there's a need for a daily, we rarely use these anymore. But it is a daily paper. Should that requirement come out?
That's why it's there.
Yes.
Zoning uses it exclusively.
Right.
So if you have a deadline or you want to do something sooner, you don't have to wait a week for that deadline for the Chagrin Valley Times or the Maple Leaf.
then I will just motion to add Chagrin Valley Times.
As,
We've already got a motion and a second, we got to deal with first.
So are you adding that as another newspaper that we would have to advertise in?
The way it doesn't say that we have to do anything.
It's an as needed.
It's just as needed, so it just gives us another option that covers a lot of local stuff anyways.
What is it for, man? What is it for? Is it like online or is it a physical paper?
The Maple Leaf and the News Herald are still physical newspapers. AuburnTownship.com occasionally will be able to advertise, to put something up in a timely fashion there. Yeah, it's a requirement to advertise. I don't know if you came to some of these zoning meetings last summer. It was required to be advertised in a paper of general circulation.
Advertise that there's a meeting?
Yes. Yeah, in the back of the paper.
Can it just be put on the website for an easy, accessible spot for everyone to see?
no, we cannot.
I thought the state ruled that it can.
To still be.
It has to be in a public paper. Zoning, if it's a variance request or conditional use situation where a legal ad has to be submitted to, and it has the reason. General circulation. Yeah, and the reason, like they said before, sometimes the zoning board of appeals secretary has a very rigid time frame that must be followed in cases, and so that's why we sometimes have to use the News Herald, because like the Maple Leaf, the Chagrin Valley Times are a weekly paper, and so she may miss that window, so she has to use the News Herald, you know. And I will will tell you, it's not cheap. It's over $100 to put an ad in the newspaper.
And that's definitely a requirement, like, it has to be done.
Yeah.
It's a requirement.
And just a coincidence, and I bring up those meetings here with the proposed gas station, filling station up
Right.
there. We're in federal court as of right now over that, so
Oh.
shortcuts are not a good,
I'm well aware.
yeah, shortcuts aren't sometimes a good idea in cases like that when
Sure.
you have the court system.
Call for the vote. Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
So what exactly was the motion you voted on?
The one that, the media of choice.
That's without any extra sugar and belly times?
Correct.
Since you want to amend it, you can amend it now.
Okay, I'll make a motion to add the Chagrin Valley Times as needed, also to the media of choice.
I'll second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Sure.
Mike.
Yes. Okay, zoning inspector appointment, currently Frank Kitco. And I would like to have Frank continue as zoning inspector if he would be so gracious.
I will second that.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Okay, zoning inspector compensation. Current pay is $2,777 a month.
Can I ask, are we doing a straight 2.8% COLA?
Yes, I'm doing a straight 2.8, pretty much everything on here, I'm doing a 2.8% COLA. Do you want to use exact figures, or you round up the nearest dollar? Thanks. Okay, so I would like to compensate the zoning inspector at a rate of $2,855 per month.
Sorry.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Okay, BJ, you want to jump to page 2?
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
For zoning, Frank, is this something, do you still want to do this? I'm not trying to be disrespectful. You've been doing it longer than I've been around. So, I mean, is it, are you doing it just because nobody else has said, hey, I want to do this?
OPRS.
Or,
I don't mind.
okay, I just wanted to ask a question. Sometimes people get stuck in places, you get so used to it, it's like, well, no one's coming up to do it, so I guess I'll do it. I figured I would at least ask, right?
Yeah, we appreciate everything Frank's done here. I think he's had an extremely busy last couple of years. There's been some fairly significant cases that we went maybe a decade without seeing. Some of these folks here, I think you go from the King James proposal down here on 44 and Crackle Road, and after that it got pretty dry probably because it followed the economy, and then all of a sudden we're seeing cases that are significant again. So I think Frank is fully effective.
I wasn't questioning that.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's
I
probably
think
not
it's 48 years, 49 years, it's a long time.
It's a good question, but it probably doesn't fit in with everything else we got to do. And I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Frank, I don't see him often, I just wanted to.
No problem.
That's it. No problem.
A lot of us do stuff for a long time. We're just done.
Sometimes you get stuck in a position, though, it's just because no one else is coming forward, and, some people are looking to get out, that's all. Just figured I'd ask a
Hey,
question.
Frank, if you ever want to get out,
There you go.
take care for the future.
Right?
You get to take this OPRS with you.
2, fire prevention officer, currently being filled by John L. Phillips. I'll make a motion to reappoint John L. Phillips as Township Fire Chief.
All second?
Discussion.
Or do we?
Over the past couple months, during the election all the way up to today, I spent a lot of time talking to a lot of residents, a lot of fire personnel, meeting with the current chief, going to the last board meeting that I could of the year on the 16th of December, because I really wasn't comfortable making this appointment, having it on my shoulders without really knowing what we have. What prompted me to really dial in on this, there's 3 main reasons. Multiple residents have voiced growing concerns during the election about the optics of the Cleveland Warehouse fire on Auburn Road. That was just 2 weeks prior to the election. The safety of the residents will always be the #1 priority, and they did not feel comfortable with how that was handled. Secondly, the fire chief is the highest paid position in the township. It is 7% of the entire fire budget. It is also one of 2 salary positions. Everything else is hourly. And the fire department is the highest outside millage tax cost for the Auburn residents specifically. Schools being one, that's with Bainbridge mixed. Number 3, I do have some prior experience in emergency services at 2 different departments in 2 different states. I don't have a lot of experience, but enough to know when something is wrong. The Geauga Maple Leaf newspaper, they also asked about our fire station, so I felt compelled to explore more. Why is an Auburn trustee responsible for this type of decision, and how could I prepare for it? Per public records request, Auburn Township does not have on file the following: copies of qualifications, training records, an application for employment, a background investigation, a resume, a job posting, or any interviews. And this would be about over 15 years since the trustees took over this crucial decision. Documented hours worked, and any annual evaluations. The current chief does not have basic medical or firefighting certifications. On 11/29, I was invited to a 3-hour meeting with the current chief and both of the assistant chiefs. I asked the current chief because on January 8th of 2024, a concerned resident asked, "When are you retiring?" The current chief said, "In 2 years," which is now. It's on video.
No, it says it's in a couple of years. Those of us at retirement age know that we go through the retirement system to let them tell us when it's a good time.
I don't understand.
You will when you get to retirement age, when you have to start.
Okay.
I'll let him finish. I'm
Here's
sorry.
what we're.
I just heard the 2 years.
Just finish reading that, okay? You know where you're going. You've told us that before. Finish reading it for everybody so we get this over with.
The main question I asked during this meeting was if any work had been done with the Board of Trustees to select a new chief. I was told no work had been done, and the chief now has no plans to retire. I left the meeting with more questions than answers and decided it would be best to try to solicit advice from the Fire Department Board of Directors at the December 16, 2025 meeting. I stressed during the meeting on January 5th, today, I am to vote on reappointment of this position, and I did not feel comfortable. The board explained that they would like to be heavily involved in this decision had they been asked before. I trust the fire board's opinion in this matter, since we also entrust them to manage a $1.6 million budget of our tax dollars. My findings: I firmly believe this is a waste of taxpayer dollars in its current format. The fire chief position is clerical in nature as it stands, while the board expects it to be operational per its bylaws. The fire department has a good secretary, treasurer, and many other people involved already doing the majority of the administrative work. We deserve an operational chief. I also believe we should not reappoint the current fire chief position. Set a meeting with the fire board of directors and solicit advice. I think soliciting the fire board would be very wise, considering we've done no due diligence in the matter on record, as I mentioned prior, and do not have the proper background to make a decision without outside guidance. That is all.
Okay. Ohio Revised Code. This is what I went through with the fire department 15 years ago or more than that.
2018, when I got appointed by the township.
Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, they always selected the fire chief on themselves. It worked out great, because we can't popularity contest. Okay, whoever made the most promises, they got to be fire chief. They couldn't yell at people, they couldn't discipline anybody, because you wouldn't get voted in the next time around. I checked the Ohio Revised Code. It's a very simple statement here. In each township not having a fire department, the Board of Township Trustees shall appoint a fire prevention officer who shall exercise all the duties of fire chief except those involving the maintenance and operation of fire apparatus. That's why we do it. Secondly, I'm not even going secondly. There's a motion on the table. Call for a vote.
I'd like to say something if I could real quick, please. Can I ask how much that position is paid?
How much does that position pay? Well, it's going to change in a little bit. And the next line. Can you wait for the next line to come up, and we'll tell you.
$107,000, give or take. That's the total package.
That's the total package. The salary, current salary is $68,990.
2.8% increase will go to $70,922.
That is correct.
And don't take this personal, pardon my voice, it's youth wrestling season, so I've been off a lot of yelling right now. But I learned that stuff about the current chief as well. It concerned me. I own 2 properties in Auburn. One of them's on Woodacre Trail. The other one is, I'm building a new house off of Horseshoe Drive. That house has a 1,000-foot long driveway. Public safety isn't theoretical for me. I have a wife, 3 children. I want to make sure when these guys show up, they're ready to go. I also want to mention my background. I was a promoted firefighter for a very busy city. I worked there for 15 years and resigned to pursue my personal business. So this isn't coming from not having experience. I've been there. I kind of know what goes on. I was in charge of training, staffing, equipment, readiness, and I know how important it is to have a good leader at the fire department. I struggle to understand why a small department like ours is paying just over $100K for a non-operational fire chief. It's my understanding he doesn't work shifts. He has minimum fire certification out there, and he's an EMT or medic. And I do know in many similar townships, the chief works a shift or is paid hourly, stays directly involved in the operation. We're only fully staffed a portion of the year, yet we have a top-heavy administrative structure from the outside. Much of the day-to-day work appears to fall on the assistant chiefs, which raises questions about efficiency and value. I do personally know a lot of the Auburn environment. I also worked in Bainbridge for a portion of time, and a lot of them also work in Bainbridge. They're excellent at what they do. This isn't criticism of them. I know they can handle the day-to-day stuff, but the chief isn't around regularly checking equipment, staying involved in training, keeping current with best practices, things slip through the cracks, make you miss. This township is growing. We've got a lot of young families coming in, choose this community because it's a great place to live. They deserve confidence that public safety leadership is present, accountable, and prepared. Again, this isn't personal. It's about structure, safety, and making sure that taxpayer dollars are being used wisely. Again, I own a business in town. I have 2 properties. I run a nonprofit. I have a lot of things going on around here. I want to make sure, when they show up, things are ready. And, I don't see why it should be any other way, especially making just over $100,000 figure.
So you want a fire chief that's going to pull a 40-hour-week shift and not be available any other time than that? That would satisfy what you want, is that correct?
That's what fire chiefs do.
Unavailable for what?
Not available for anything, you can pull a 40-hour-week shift just like everybody else. And anything over and above that is paid, it's on you guys.
That's what chiefs do, and then if there's an emergency, they come in, so.
Okay.
What if they're only 40 hours a week? Come in.
There is a motion on the table. Call for the vote.
Discussion.
We've had enough discussion.
That's not how that works.
You're trying to move forward.
What do you mean? They're still discussing. There's lots of people that want to
You
discuss.
don't know what
Okay.
I'm not sure that's fair.
Keep talking.
We don't have a rule limiting the residents here.
Yes, sir.
So I'm Vince Valero, I am this one of the assistant chiefs on the fire department. And I do what's assigned to me. Chief does do his job. There's so much more being chief, as you know, you work in business, than responding to calls and such. He does a lot of administrative tasks that he does as a chief, that I don't. When he got sick, I'm going to say this, when he got sick, I found out what the chief does. I had no idea before I did my job and kept going. But actually, Assistant Chief Carter at the time, and I had to take over the role and try to figure it out. And now, I know what those roles are, and I can just tell you that there's just much more to that. We handle the big delegated portion of our duties, while the chief handles everything else. Mr. Davis, if he'd have listened at the end of the meeting, he would have heard some of that stuff when the chief gave his report to the board. I was sitting in both meetings, and I'm just going to say it, trying to be professional. I'm a resident here my whole life, been on the fire department for 41 years, but Mr. Davis didn't want to hear what we had to say. Everything we said, you kept turning back to the chief. The chief said in the video, because I watched it, it was thrown out to him, he said a couple of years. That's what he said. He didn't say I'm retiring in 2 years. I offered to Mr. Davis that I've been his assistant chief for a while now. Never relayed to me that he was retiring. Never happened. And I just feel it's important to understand that I try to be professional, so I'm going to let some stuff go. But there's other issues at hand here, and I just think that having worked for the organization, things are functioning properly. Everything's getting done, and I've asked some of the staff, not all of them, and everybody I've talked to said this is a great place to work. I don't know why they're pretty proud. This is an awesome job. We paid pretty much a decent rate per part-time. So I enjoy working here. I wasn't going to be here, but I enjoy it. And, I work a full-time job as well, and it's so important. And some of the things that Mr. Davis said, I see different because I work it. So I think that we should continue on with Chief John being chief. If there's anything to discuss, I think that's for another day. It's not a spur of the moment, let's just throw the chief out. We've done 52 years here. I spent my whole time here battling the idea that we have people on this organization that have been here a lot longer than me, volunteer, as did I, for all these years, Carmen, everybody, even Sean Davis over there at one point, and spent a lot of time volunteering, and under the chief's direction and the board and every member of the organization, we're where we are today, volunteering to staffing 8 hours a day, 12 hours, 18 to 2. Then we moved to 3. John, chief, was a promoter of that, with the board and everybody. And then now we're staffing 4. And yes, for us, it's been a challenge for us. We are filling shifts, so we are going up. I think, what are we at, 95%? If that shifts filled, not days filled.
95%?
95% at the end of the schedule. So, I did realize, looking at some numbers, that Chief's the second highest paid person. If you go by percentage, you are correct. Wasn't that challenge of 7%. There was one other factor at the meeting that we discussed in real life, and that came
Burton. The Burton Fire Chief, for example, they're a neighboring township. He works a shift, he gets a $500 stipend, no health care. Their budget is under $1 million. They have 20% higher call volume, 1 less guy. So with all that being said, the use of money does not make sense that we have less calls and 1 more guy, and that we pay a much, much higher rate for not being operational or on duty. And we have a big secretarial staff in place, being the whole board, that does a lot of work. That's why I wanted to solicit the board.
How does our size of fire and intensity compare to those in Bergen?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I don't think the statistics are consistent, but the most recent fire, 40,000 square foot, happened on October 24th. That might have been the biggest fire in 20 years.
Yes. Another thing we discussed with Mr. Davis during our meeting, and it went unchecked, basically, it seemed like it didn't have concern about it, is that was 1 fire. And yes, it didn't go on. However, we've had several fires this year. Some that I've been on, some that I haven't. Our personnel did an awesome job. They went in there to kick butt, they got the fire out, and minimal damage as possible. So, I'm not sure where you're going with this. Chief's led us for the last bunch of years. And I think we've come a long way, and I just hope the residents understand that. We did just under 1,100 calls last year. I just did the stats today for your next meeting. So that's an increase every year since we started our organization. I remember getting 100 calls, 150 when I started. And then stuck around 500 calls per year for a long time. And once it started going, it just kept going. And we're currently at 1,085, I believe, for calls. 84, that was correct, 84. So in our personnel, under the direction of the chief, I think we're doing pretty good for the community. Everything's community oriented. Our focus, everything that we discuss is really about the community that we serve. And the chief has led that charge for years. The community comes first, then the organization. We try to do much right for our people that work for us. Obviously, some people that work for us are going to have people that disagree. They want more money or whatever. They don't like a particular rule. But overall, I think we're doing pretty good as an organization.
Yeah, I just like to that too, from the COVID era lows, when membership dropped below 20, I believe now we're back to the low to mid-30s, which to me speaks to the morale of the department and the opportunity to work in that department. So how anyone can interpret that we're on a downward trend, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
Is there a staffing level requirement? I mean, most businesses, you got supply and demand. I mean, I Is there something for fire? I have no clue on fire departments.
Well, these are employees of the Auburn Volunteer Fire Department. It's a standalone department as of now. The only employee of the township, as Mike read earlier on, and when it says in each township not having a fire department, technically we don't. We contract with the Auburn Volunteer Fire
You said we
Department.
were one less than Burton understand.
Burton, I can't tell you.
What is
They
that?
serve the village, they serve the township, they serve a portion of Clarendon. Don't know if Troy's included in that, maybe not. But there's at least 3 different government entities that are served through Burton and fire department. So the numbers are apples and oranges to some. I'm sure they could be worked out, but it's probably not quite as black and white as some people would think.
Matter of salary. Okay. We're talking $1.5 million budget he's in charge of, along with 34 employees. If you're talking that kind of budget, that many people that you have to supervise, take care of, take responsibility for, what's that, minimum wage? And I don't care what anybody else thinks.
It's worth somebody that can physically do the job. The fire is worth someone physically being able to do the job.
This Bedford is making cheese for the Great Lakes Cheese Company. That Preston isn't out there selling
I understand this, but
cars.
he
The
did it.
superintendent isn't out there teaching in each classroom. I'm really glad you brought up the community aspect, because how about the 4th of July picnic? Where does it end? At the firehouse. Memorial Day parades have happened in this community for nearly 20 years. I've been to them for 18. And, fire department is there helping direct traffic, okay, keeping the community safe. We have, numerous pancake breakfasts. Over 600 people serve pancake breakfast. Where does it occur? The fire department. Doesn't that promote community? And you're asking them to work for minimum wage? Who else do you call at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, where's the gas shutoff for blah, blah, blah? He knows. How many times does he show up at these township meetings to tell you what's going on? How many times does he go to the zoning meetings? How many building inspections has he been on? But if you want him to work just 8 hours and be done, it'll free up a whole lot of time for him. He's available 24/7. I think you guys will attest to that.
I've worked with the chief at 2 o'clock in the morning. He's out on the road if there's trees down and
Trees
stuff.
down.
He's out there working and we're in communication, so it's not a 40-hour job. It's these jobs are 24 hours a day on call. And he's come down to the road department and helped us out numerous times, several, not just hours, days, with any issues we have. It could be generator or anything, but he really helps us out down there. The whole fire department does, they're great.
We've grown from the admin building to what we have now, and it's been a couple of additions, it's been a new water system, we've got a heliport out there, we've got the gas tank system out there. I know a lot of effort went into that from a lot of different people, the chief included. I don't think this is the right arena to bash him.
So I'm not bashing anybody, I'm questioning if we are under manpower and we have a big board of talented people managing the fire station, and we're struggling to always fill shifts with 4, which was promised during the last levy around 2020 to shift 4. If all the shifts aren't filled and we have an upside-down triangle structure, basically we're real fat at the top, where we have a very expensive chief that's not operational, and then I want you to remember how Burton does
Have
it.
you looked at the schools?
Which schools?
All of them?
Kenston especially, talk about top heavy.
Well, I didn't run for school board. I'm here. Anyways, and then so on and so forth with the assistant chiefs and so on. For shifts not to be filled, we're struggling with staffing, and then having all these positions that may not be able to be operational, I can't make sense of that cost. I mean, if we need more clerical staff to do all these great things like the pancake breakfast and build buildings and those types of things. They're really not in line with a chief being able to evaluate their subordinates, being up to date on medical and firefighting. Because at the end of the day, when the call goes out, that's the job, is to show up and do the medical and firefighting. All the admin stuff seems really well handled from what I gathered. So to not have that use of money out of the budget and apply it to the operational standpoint, which is what the bylaws read. I asked about this. Direct the day-to-day operations. And I kept looking at that, but over here, we shall exercise all of the duties of a fire chief, except those involving maintenance and operation of apparatus, fire apparatus specifically. So I went around in circles with all I had, because, again, I started with nothing, and I have to make this appointment or not make this appointment. So I'm comfortable in the due diligence I've done, meeting with them personally, going to the board for advice, and quite frankly, I did a lot of work to understand what we have currently, and it really doesn't make sense.
I suggest you do.
So if the fire chief goes from salary to hourly, does that mean he's not going to go to a fire call for his life at stake?
That would not mean that.
No, I didn't think you did. It's just the comments thrown out to everybody that
That's the implication.
it's the implication that, well, he won't be doing that part of his project. At 4:30, the clock rings, he's out, and then the fire alarm goes.
He might be on shift. He might just already be working at 12.
But regardless, it sounds to me like a fire chief is on call regardless. So he would be there, and it wouldn't be, just because it's an hourly pay, he would still have a burden of responsibility.
You could still get paid, and that should be part of the questions we ask, interviewing and evaluating annually, as opposed to not evaluating at all, which we haven't done in 15-some years, and then just pointing.
Okay, I'm going to come around to this now. We do have a motion and a second. And Riley, I appreciate the work you put into this, but there are also some other options you've talked about, including the board of trustees and the fire department, somehow in the selection or compensation or
the fire director.
Board of directors over there, the fire department. So in the future, I'd just like to point out that there is an option for what you referred to earlier as a work session. It would be an executive session. It would be held where to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. And that would be what you described earlier as what would be a work session. It would be just the parties involved that employ this fire chief in this case, to discuss those exact parts of the discussion. I suggest that if there's some outside considerations or comparisons that you want to bring in, I can't say that Burton Village Fire Department is a direct comparison to Auburn without doing a very deep dive into the other communities they serve. But there you go. I'm reading from the revised code to consider appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against that public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual, unless that employee requests a public hearing. So there's an opportunity. If you've gotten support for any of the things I just said, there's an opportunity to do it. But back to what I was saying, we got a motion in a second.
Riley,
No.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
I made the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
PJ.
Okay, moving on. Compensation for fire prevention officer. Current salary is, as we mentioned earlier, $68,990, and there's some math involved here, so Dan, I'm going to leave that up to you and Michael on this one.
Well, what number do you have in there?
78,922.
Okay, 79,922. So that's your motion, PJ?
No, you make that, you just said it, so you said that motion,
Okay.
I'll second.
I make a motion for compensation for fire prevention officer of $70,922.
And I'll second.
Riley,
No.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Fire Department mutual aid. This is a motion to accept all mutual aid agreements negotiated by the AVFD Corporation as binding.
Second?
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, the position of cemetery sexton. I had more discussion about cemetery sexton jobs today than I think I have in a bit. Currently, that's being filled by Michael Ludwig, who at the time he was appointed, was an employee of the township. He no longer is, but he's still serving in that position. And I can tell you that, well, Lorraine's here tonight, so I'm going to do some name grabbing here. We are in a flux there where our cemetery program, as far as ownership, and there's thousands of plots here, are in paper maps, Mylar maps, Excel, and a program that Michael Ludwig, our sexton, purchased on his own called Crypt Keeper that he found much easier to work with. Because there's really no standard program available that we knew about until just recently when this all came about, that we've got to replace our sexton. Okay, so right now there's one through UAN, Unified Accounting Network, which is Columbus-based, 4 townships. And there's also one in development right here at Jog County through automated data processing that, Lorraine, we have a meeting sometime in January that we're going to get some, costs,
Right, we'll be
figures.
meeting with Frank Antonucci to find out how their system works. They recently developed this, so we'll find out a little bit more about it, how it works, how much it costs.
It's new. The good thing is, as opposed to the one in Columbus, it's local. Your phone calls will go here to Chardon should there be issues or anyone involved. And it becomes an issue. It's an emotional thing with the cemetery. And we want to keep that as local as possible as long as we can afford that. New program, and we're satisfied with the county. So, at that being said, after having this discussion today, I'd like to, and I talked to Mr. Woodward, I said, this is absolutely on a month basis, because once we get everything under one umbrella, we want a local person that's going to have to operate the system that we choose. Because those are our cemeteries, we want the basics, is what we want. So I'm going to make a motion to reappoint monthly.
Can I say something first?
Okay.
When he left in August, it was understood that he would remain till the end of the year. He's working 4 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday. So he's not available to residents.
It's only during the summer. Those are his hours.
Those are the summer hours. Okay. But my point is,
You don't use section down there. That's our plan.
so my point is, we have another road department employee who expressed interest in the position. In fact, he presented the township with a letter of intent on October 28th. And he's worked alongside Mike, and he's interested in the position. Why wouldn't we just appoint him and then hire Mike Ludwig as a consultant to get us through the transition?
I spoke with both of those guys today, and both of them agreed that this is probably the way to go until we have one comprehensive system to handle all the cemetery inputs and information.
Yeah, I have no problem with
Spoke with both of them.
Mark taking over, I think that'd be great. But what I'd like to, well, again, even taking care of that by bringing in Mike as kind of a transition. But you've got a thing now where you take Mike, it's going to transition Mark into what we've got now. Which we may have to have somebody that'll have that information. Because we got to ultimately, all this information that we got now that's in a flux state, shall we say, in all these different, between the Excel and the Crypt Keeper and the maps and the, God knows what else we have, to get that into whatever the new system will be. I'd have no problem either way with getting Mark transitioned over. I don't think it would hurt. But Mark is-
No, I don't. As I said, I spoke with both of them today. I'm on good terms with everybody over there, the ones that's out there. And this consensus was the way to go. Until we have the one, overarching program that we're going to run everything through.
So we want to...
We're going to do this on a monthly basis here, and that was my motion, was to
Discussion.
appoint Mr. Ludwig. To be the second person.
So what's the motion then?
Reappoint Mike Ludwig on a monthly basis through first week of February.
Excuse me, if you say monthly basis, then each month you're gonna have to go through this again.
Until we get this program sorted out.
I just want to be clear,
Until we get this program sorted out with the county, yeah, because
when somebody approached me on election day and said, you know what? My one concern is, I can't get anybody to call me back, and I sure would like to lay out these plots for my
which is
family.
why we're transitioning this here.
It's been 6 months, it's a long transition.
Yeah.
How hard is it for a guy to turn over some records? Come on.
So I spoke with Mr. Ludwig today as well. I was starting to feel kind of uneasy about what I had learned about the sexton position.
It's 8 months of this.
And, we've got a long time to transition. He said, nobody has asked me to work on this. He told me that on the phone. So I proceeded to ask him the details of the records. The program that he uses, there's a username and password, and he bought it years ago, maybe 15 years ago. That's what he said, since '06.
He has 7, 8 years he's doing the sexton. He purchased that program, I was the one that's his program.
But it has all of our data.
All the data's on paper, and he was just taking what was on paper, putting on a computer.
But he told me he has the Excel spreadsheets dating back, the Mylar copies, and the program with all the data he's since done on his personal laptop. And does anybody have the username or password? Because he said no. I asked him that directly. So I proceeded to ask him, can we have that information? Now, if we didn't reappoint him, I was worried that, what happens if he lost his laptop? Or if something happened and he couldn't...
We have it all on paper, all that information.
He said he only has, when I asked him, the computer program he uses, and he paid for it. He said it is not transferred to Excel or anywhere else. He said those are old files. Everything he has now is on his file. So what do we have in our possession? Because he said he has everything with him.
Well, he's got to turn the book over. UAN or ADP, it's all going to be on a computer.
We should probably always have had the login info for all the work he's done over the years, which we don't currently have. You confirm that.
No, we don't, it's his personal program that he was, it's basically a map on a computer, is what he's got right now.
He found it easier to work with than anything we had.
He wasn't aware of the point that was really available. And not only did he purchase it, but he's paid the year to update it on his own.
So he owns all the records, or we do?
He owns the computer program, he owns all the work.
Very hard to hear you, very hard to hear what's the discussion going on.
I asked if we had
I don't even
access.
know who this gentleman is that's responding.
That's Mr. Fenstermaker.
I'm the road superintendent. I get involved with the cemetery quite a bit. Basically, the sexton, he marks everything out. He takes care of selling plots, writing the deeds, he gives you a deed, works with the monument companies, works with the people. He basically lays it out, finds the area, we dig it, and we do the interment part of it. So we're kind of working together with them.
I was questioning if we had access to the data,
Right.
and we still don't. And that was a concern of mine because he's done a lot of work over the years, and we don't have it according to him. So that's why
Everything we
I'm
have
trying
is
to-
on paper, but it's a big paper map that's laminated, and he's been taking that information, and he purchased a program on his own, and he's been putting it on the computer program, just so if you lost the paper, we'd have it, but we still have all the paperwork, So he's-
Okay, I apologize, because he said he had it all. So you have all the paperwork.
He got the turn over the deed for the maps, but yeah,
So he has the
paper.
paperwork.
He's a sexton, we have it all. Well, we're in a transition period where we're gonna move to a more uniform system that it's not just our system, it's more, all the townships are kind of using. I know other townships use UAN, and the county has just come up with a new system that we're gonna look into this month, actually. We're gonna go to some meetings and investigate that system and try to get it more up to date.
It's new. It's a new system developed by our county automated data processing board. And as I said, we'd like to keep it local. In the interim, while we've got what we have, I made the motion to reappoint Michael.
Okay. We'll make this here, okay, we're still making cemetery second for 2026. You can always resign, and then we can appoint somebody else. So this will save us from having to go to do something monthly.
Like a half-hour conversation on this every month.
Well, we only have 2 hour conversation every month, so I think if we just do it the one, and then we can.
All right, as I said, all
Did he
parties,
say-
all
did
all
he-
parties involved are aware of what we're doing here.
Did he say why he changed his mind? And that, at the end of the year, he was
He
done?
kind of felt that when he went to Sharp, he was gonna take over their program as sexton, so he wouldn't have time to do both.
Yeah.
It didn't work out.
So he's not working as sexton there, he's not going to be doing it in 2026, which frees his time up to continue with sexton for us.
We should have
Once we get
all the
him in
paper
there,
copies.
I have no problem with Mark taking over.
I heard you guys going back and forth, and I didn't know if this guy has them, or, as long as we have it, Todd, that's, because it sounds like that's his program, so if he goes, his program goes.
The township has physical copies,
Right.
they're in his possession, since he's an officer maintaining them, but he also has his own personal computer program.
So he has our
Physical copies.
So he has it.
It's right now, it's going to be a short-term thing, maybe a few months. Once we get this thing going, then we can transition, bring Mark in, bring Mike in, let him continue consulting at that point. This is where a lot of it is done, take care of it for sure. Okay, you got a motion, I seconded it. Motion.
No. He did, yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Okay, after the same conversation today, we have to make a motion to continue with that sexton compensation. $444 a month.
Okay. Continue with the page 14. Second.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
All right, compensation for trustees. The payment method shall be the salary method for the year and paid solely from the general fund. This is all based on revised code.
Second.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
What is the compensation? What is the compensation
$444 a month.
for trustees?
No, that's for sexton.
Right.
For trustees, it is, Dan could answer you that, it's based on the budget, and that's all set by the revised code. We have no part of setting our salaries on this board.
Everything else is wrong here except for that.
Yeah, well, that's all by the revised code.
And to make it more confusing, my salary and Riley's salary are slightly different than PJ's salary, because we just got elected and he's under the old system, so.
Yeah.
To directly answer the question, we give you a ballpark or give you the individuals.
As of January 1st, PJ will make $1,303 a month. Riley will make $1,344 a month. Mike Freund will make $1,344 a month. And I will make $2,240. That's based on the increases of Ohio Revised Code 505.24 and 507.09. That's set by the state.
Okay, jumping back into it, Kenston Community Ed, which we're part of as well, along with Cambridge Township, because the school's got all taken. We appoint board representatives from Auburn Township, and we have a person that was currently admin serving, does not want to do another term, so I'm going to make a motion to appoint Stephanie Garrett to KCE as a board representative for a 3-year term on the KCE board to begin January 1, 26 and expire 12/31/28.
Second.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Okay, to confirm the previously appointed representatives, so now we're going to have Stephanie Garrett, term expiring 12/31/28. David Parker, term expiring 12/31/27. And Robert Ford, term expiring 12/31/26. There's a motion.
Second.
Riley?
Discussion. Do we know the attendance records for these? For David Parker and Robert Ford? I couldn't get a hold of KC to ask, I just wanted to know if we had it. Anybody?
Yes, and we have a very strong recommendation from the director over there that we have a good slate of people serving. So, yes. That's all.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I want to thank Justin Yates for serving. I believe he did, I think it was 2 terms. It could have been 3. Auburn Township president, and we appreciate his service over there, helping represent us on that board. Zoning Commission. Okay, we have, those are 5 positions. They're 5-year terms staggered so that one expires every year. And the expiring term this year was Jeff Pulsford, longtime member, strong contributor, interested in serving another 5-year term. And I will make a motion to appoint Jeff Pulsford to that 5-year term to begin January 1/26 and expire 12/31/30.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Next,
By Wednesday.
so zoning commission alternate, there's 2 alternate spots on one, or 2 on the commission, 2 on the board. Those are 1-year terms. And one that expire every year, but they both expire every year, obviously. Greg Lackey has served, I believe, maybe a term or 2 now as an alternate. And he's interested in continuing. I will make a motion to appoint Greg Lackey as alternate number 1 to the zoning commission. Term to begin January 1/26 and expire 12/31/26.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Angela Doherty has served for, she's been there, I think, a couple of years as well. Interested in serving again as alternate number 2. Term beginning January 1/26 and expiring 12/31/26. Just to explain how this works, in the absence of a regular member of the commission, these 2 alternates will become full voting members, full participants in the commission and whatever business they're dealing with, be it an amendment or whatever's going on at the time. So their attendance is expected, and they're treated, they treat it as a fully serving member.
Yeah, basically, they can ask questions, they can be part of it. The only thing they can't do, unless they're taking the place of an existing full member, is to vote. No questions?
Okay, so Angela, there's my motion, Angela Doherty.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, confirm previously appointed commission members. We now have Jeff Pulsford, term expiring 12/31/30. Dennis Bergansky, term expiring 12/31/29. Ted Van Heining, term expiring 12/31/28. Chad Canfield, term expires 12/31/27. And Scott Brockman, term expiring 12/31/26. Greg Lackey, alternate 1, term expiring 12/31/26. And Angela Doherty, alternate 2, term expiring 12/31/26. There's a motion.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, we compensate our commission members. It's for a few years now, it's been at $60 per meeting. I'm going to make a motion to continue that at that rate.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
The commission has recently hired a secretary, as is their discretion. This board sets the compensation for that secretary, and it's currently at $28.75 per hour. Dan, perhaps you looked into that as to whether an increase would involve there? I don't know.
$29.56.
She was new, so.
Yeah. $29.56. And that's Sidney Reed.
$29.56. Yes?
Yes.
That's my
Second.
motion. That's my motion.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, zoning board of appeals, expiring term is for David Parker, I would like to thank Mr. Parker for his years of service to the township. He's done a lot across the board, not just in the zoning department. He was instrumental in getting our park going, and if you guys ever go to the park, you'll see a building up there, and it says right there in black and white, the Parker Building. We couldn't come up with a better name because David helped us organize that with some volunteer and some donated labor and materials, and he's been just a great contributor to the township over the years, but he's going to move on from here, from the Zoning Board of Appeals. So I would like to make a motion to appoint Dr. Michael Varley to that expiring term. That will begin that expired term, excuse me, this is a new term, to begin 1/1/26 and expire 12/31/30.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, we have a resignation as well, another longtime contributor, Doug Hogan. He's moved on, he built a new home up by Lake County, so he's moved from the township, and we appreciate everything he did here as well. So that is a term that is set to expire in 2000, and I believe 27, yeah. It's going to expire 12/31/27, so that essentially has 2 years remaining. To that position, I would like to elevate Ben Timmons from the position of alternate 2, which he served for several years now, to that unexpired term of Doug Hogan. I'll second.
Second.
Riley, you seconded?
Yes.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, now we got a couple alternates to fill in because we moved, as you like to see, you move your alternates that are familiar with the board and the workings into full-time roles, which we just did. So, had several applicants. Go ahead, Mike.
Make a recommendation for BZA alternate 1. We have a newcomer, Mark E. Colans. A lot of experience in all kinds of professional fields. Just seems like he would be a good fit.
And once again, it's a one-year term, starting January 1st of this year, and will expire at the end of this year. So that's Mark Kolanz, Kolanz. Mike made that motion, I'll second it.
Thank you, man, well.
Okay, Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
and Mike.
Yes.
Okay, we got an alternate 2 position, which is currently vacant. Once again, several applicants, a lot of them, a few of them expressed a preference zoning commission over zoning board of appeals, which kind of limits our choices here just a bit. But John Macy,
Can you spell that name?
NESI, he interviewed with us December 1st. There's a motion to appoint him to alternate 2.
One second.
Discussion. Out of all this paperwork I've received as all these wonderful applicants came in, there were only several that didn't have complaints on record, all related to the same thing, and I just wonder if they all decided to apply because of an issue they were complaining about, or if they're really for the general idea of the public and serving for the residents. There are only a few names on here that didn't have neutral complaints about something that hasn't happened yet. So I really kind of question the intention how they all came up together here with the same complaints. I just wanted to put that out there. But I would suggest Brian Span or Michael Francisco. I believe Miss Susan, but there's no indicator if she's for BZ or CC.
I saw a handwritten note, she preferred commission.
Okay,
Yes,
so,
I saw a handwritten somewhere.
and then, yeah, that's all that I see without a current bias towards the situation, and I couldn't figure out how they all came to be together on the same complaint. So, Mr. Brian Span and Mr. Michael Francisco do not have any open complaints. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I made a motion. Once again, these were people that asked some questions that I thought were pertinent and indicated some knowledge of zoning. And these are alternate positions, and I think in the past it's proven this is how we find out if these are single issue concerns or a genuine broad interest in zoning in the township. This is what we're looking for. Okay, there's a motion.
Randy, how many did you say were involved with these, many, several?
Of the applicants? Yeah, I mean, it'll take me a
What are
second.
you talking about? Are you saying 15 applicants and
No.
14 of them have open cases?
No, we have, let me fill this one in, hold on a sec. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total applicants. We nominated Mr. Collins, which brings you to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 7 had the open complaints, which left 2, were the ones I mentioned that in the moment there are not a bias. And I don't know the details.
What were their complaints?
There's a gentleman that wants to build a motocross track. He reached out to the public in advance. It hasn't commenced. It's winter. I don't know the details, what's going to happen with it, but a lot of complaints came in ahead of time about that. Directly related to the applicants were the complaints. And I thought that was strange if they were here for the residents or if they were here, I don't even know if they'd have to abstain or not, the details of that, but it seemed interesting, so I dug in a little deeper, and that's why I suggested what I suggested. There were 2 names that had no open complaints.
Yeah, I made a motion to appoint John Nacy to Auburn 2.
I have a second.
Riley?
No.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Okay, here's the confirmation motion, and I'm going to hand it off. Okay, Dr. Michael Varley is just will fill the term that expires on 12/21, that's 21, of 30. Brian Stewart. His term will expire 12/31/29. Lou Tomzik's term expires 12/31/28. And Benjamin Timmons, that term's going to expire 12/31/27. Bob Ford's term will expire 12/31/26. Alternate one, term expiring 12/31/26 is Mark Collins, and 12/31/26 is the expiration of alternate two's term, and that would be John Macy, NESI. There's a motion.
Second.
Riley?
No.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Take a look, too. Yes, sir. Okay, page 4 about compensation.
Compensation for Board of Zoning Appeals members, currently $60 per meeting. I will motion.
Motion then to remain at $60 per meeting. I'll second.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Board of Zoning Appeals Secretary Compensation, Ms. Alyssa Lesniak, currently $28.75 per hour. I will motion the $28.75.
We gave the other secretary at 2.8.
2.8%.
The rate increased to 29.55.
Rounded to 56, 29.56.
Okay, for the Board of Zoning Appeals Secretary to be at a new rate of $29.56 per hour for clerical administrative work, as well as the 2026 rate for Board of Zoning Appeals members' meetings attended. This is to include either the hours or the meeting rate, but not both. Second.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ? Yes. Mike?
Yes. And just, you mentioned the current secretary's name. That isn't applicable because the boards hire the secretaries. We only establish the compensation. That's why there's nothing in there regarding that. So you might have had a note or something.
Yeah, okay.
This is just to set the compensation. The board secretaries are hired by the boards.
Thank you. Employees, wages, and benefits, Township Highway Superintendent, currently Mike Fenstermaker.
Okay, Dan, you did a worksheet here, which I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I believe that rate is to be.
Do we have to do something?
Yeah, we're going to do everybody separate.
Current rate's 3410, 3506.
Okay, first we're going to appoint the superintendent, though.
Oh, okay, well, you said that's good enough.
So go back to that. Employ the township highway superintendent.
Motion to reappoint Mike Fenstermaker. Second.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Now.
Okay.
Current pay is 3410.
I've got it right too. We should go there.
We rounded to 35.06. If that's what you want to do.
Are we ready to read on to the next one?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll go to salary for Mike.
Yes, okay. Mike Fenstermaker, current pay, $34.10 to be increased to $35.06. Second.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Mark Strum, current pay is, this was a correction, $31.42, correct?
Yes, it was increased on September 13th from $29.42 to $31.42 when he was promoted to road foreman. So a 2.8% increase would be $32.30.
Okay, I'll motion to increase to $32.30. Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ, Mike.
Yes.
Mr. Nathan Munn, current pay is $24.55. I will motion to increase to $25.24.
Yes.
And I will second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Mr. Thad Wojciak. I thought it was a T-Sat. Sorry, I knew it was one of them. Current pay is $23 per hour. On 1/4/26, after probation, it will be $25 per hour. Motion to increase to $25 per hour.
Just a point of interest, his probation ended yesterday.
Yep.
He's got his 90 days
Okay. I'll second.
to 25.
Yes.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Mr. Brian Seaboard, current pay is $20 per hour. As a part-time employee, he's possibly going full-time in January of '26.
Yeah, Riley, this has been, we've had quite a cycle of staffing and restaffing up there with some scheduled retirements and some other things. I trust that you've talked to Mike about this, and Brian seems to be, he's retiring from the sheriff's department, and there's a window that he's got to meet some of his own obligations.
He's not over, so he's getting another whole job, so he has to wait 60 days.
Yeah. But I gotta say, the guy's proven himself there. He's rearranged his schedule in his last few days at the sheriff's department to help us out in storms. So I want to go, at least, I want to go down.
Or 22, 23, whatever.
I'd go to about 21 anyway, or 21.50 if you want to split the difference. But I think the guy he's gone a long ways to prove himself that he wants to be here. So, yeah.
He has his, he already has his CDL?
No.
He's going to go.
So I'm going to go to 21 on that because we're going to be into that CDL window there too. But yeah, let's do it now.
Okay, motion to increase to 21 hourly wage.
For the part-time guy.
Yep, sorry.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Administrative assistant, Ms. Nancy Dozel. The current salary rate is $63,240 per year. Motion to increase to $65,011 per year.
I will second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Assistant zoning inspector, Ms. Jane Hardy, current pay is $28.75 per hour. I will motion to increase to $29.55.
56.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Part-time assistant to fiscal office, Ms. Lorraine Sevich, current pay is $28.70 per hour. I will motion to increase to $29.50 per hour.
Yes.
Okay, I'll second it.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Overtime policy, that I will motion that all road department overtime for 2026 will be approved by the road liaison and the administrative and zoning departments. Overtime will be approved by a trustee. Sorry.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Health insurance opt-out is currently $500 per month. I will motion that all employees have the option to opt out of health insurance coverage at the time of policy renewal each year, and as an incentive, will receive a monthly stipend of $500.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Cell phone policy is currently $50 per month. I will motion that the township give a stipend of $50 per month to Auburn Township designated employees that are required to have a cell phone.
Second.
Second. Does that include Mike?
Riley,
That's right here. Yes.
PJ,
That's going to be the next one.
Mike.
Yes.
Yeah, as whenever you read this, you might pick up on that. This is kind of in lieu of the radios and everything else that have been been invaluable. It's been invaluable. So we might want to consider adding him to that list. Yeah.
This is a question I have. It's my understanding really that even throughout the year, a lot of like appointments and changes can be made also. This is just more of a annual formality. But
Yeah, then there's been a lot of times where we had different rosters.
like if you needed a phone month, you would just ask.
You have the power to change it, any policy.
Yeah. Employee cell phone recipients, I motion that the following Auburn Township employees are to have cell phones currently. Mike Fenstermaker, Mark Strom, Nathan Munn, Thad Wojtasek, Chief John Phillips, Frank Kicko, Jane Hardy, and Nancy Dozel, and Brian Siebel. Yep, I'll second.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. 2026 holidays. I will motion that the following paid holidays be set for the year. Do you want me to read through all the holidays?
Yeah, these are pretty much early man.
Can I say something real quick? I failed to mention that, in fact, the pay period ended Friday, so all these hourly wages will take effect Saturday, okay? Which they won't see in their pay until 2 weeks from Friday, because of the time period. Next time, so the current pay period, I'm sorry, not time, the current pay period starts, so these hourly rates will be retro to Saturday. Okay? And then the monthly stipends will start on January 1.
That'll be January 10th.
This current pay won't see the increases until 2 weeks from Friday.
Right.
I just wanted to clarify.
What was about retrospective? I didn't hear it.
Well, today is the 5th. Their hourly rate will actually begin on the 3rd. Just wanted to clarify, just so everybody understands.
2026 holidays, I will motion that the following paid holidays be set for the year. On New Year's Day, January 1st, 2026. All of these will be for 2026. Martin Luther King Day, January 19th. President's Day, President's Day, February 16th. There's 2 asterisks on those, and then Columbus Day coming up. I'll read that now. These days are optional holidays and may be worked in exchange for taking off the day after Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and/or New Year's Eve. So Memorial Day, May 25th, Juneteenth, June 19th, Independence Day, July 3rd, Labor Day, September 7th, Columbus Day, there's a correction, or I'm sorry, October 12th. That was an asterisk one as well. Veterans Day reads as Tuesday. We've corrected that. It's Wednesday, November 11th. Thanksgiving Day, November 26th, and Christmas, December 25th.
Second.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Zoning amendment application.
Let me interject right there. Just, Dan probably remember this, and I certainly will. Zoning fees are something that a lot of people in the township having to deal with. And rather than give them short shrift on this guy and that tonight, we've historically dealt with these in the first meeting in February. After we'll get, and you probably find something in your file there about some consideration towards increasing costs of, rather than do that at short notice tonight, this time sometimes we actually need short notice.
You want to table it?
I do, I told that we historically dealt with those in the first meeting. So it gives us some background.
Okay, I'll read it and then motion to the table. Fair enough. Zoning amendment application fee is currently 1,000, we get a correction, it's listed as 800 on the chart, but again, that, I will motion to table that the fee for filing a zoning amendment application will be 800 plus costs to include mailing, legal, advertising, court reporter, and any other miscellaneous costs incurred. So we're motioning to table that.
Yeah, I'll second that. Table that to the first meeting.
Riley,
Yes.
TJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And included? Okay. That's historically what we've done. Zoning appeal hearing fee, current cost $545 is a correction as it shows on our chart, plus $180. I will motion to table the fee for the zoning board of appeals variance for conditional use request. If there are multiple requests from the same applicant, an additional $180 fee will be assessed. So motion to table. Second.
Riley,
Yes.
TJ? Yes. Mike?
Yes.
Town hall rental rate, currently $100 for a resident and $200 for a non-resident fee for the first 4 hours and an additional $20 per hour thereafter. So we will motion to keep those two fees the same.
Yeah, just get an entrance to it.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
TJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Adam Hall rental rate, I will motion to establish the rental rate for Adam Hall as $85 for Auburn residents and $120 for Auburn Township residents, plus a $175 cleaning fee and a $300 refundable damage deposit. Hourly security guard fee is set by Geauga County Sheriff's Office for events serving alcohol. Do we want to add, oh, that changes.
That's currently at $50 an hour.
Okay, do we want to leave it off?
Well, no, it's whatever they
set.
Whatever they
Okay.
decide to charge.
Rental fees may be changed by the Board of Trustees on a case-to-case basis for school civic groups, religious, church functions, homeowners associations, and senior citizens, etc.
Second.
Riley,
Yes.
TJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Adam Hall funeral luncheon gathering rate. A motion to establish a 4-hour flat fee rental rate of $250 for Auburn residents and $350 for out-of-township residents for after-funeral luncheons gatherings held Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and additional hourly security guard fee set by the Geauga County Sheriff's Office will be required if serving alcohol. Second.
Riley?
Yes.
TJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Cost for opening graves. I will motion that the opening of graves for new intermittents on weekends up to 2:30 p.m. will be $345 and will be $495 after 2:30 p.m. weekends and Saturdays. The cemetery must be vacated by 12 p.m. noon on Saturday, or an additional hourly fee of $145 will be assessed. There will be no burials on Sunday or any township legal holidays. Interment of ashes or small infants on weekends up to 2:30 p.m. will be $250 and will be $350 after 2:30 p.m. weekends and Saturdays. Or if a vault is used, $250 on weekends before 2:30 p.m. and $350 after 2:30 p.m. and Saturdays.
Yep. Second that.
Riley?
Yes.
TJ? Mike?
Yes.
Cost of graves, I motion that the price of a grave for non-residents is $600 and $100 for an infant. The price of a grave for residents is $250, a correction?
Yes.
It's listed as 100, but a correction is $250 per grave or $400 per lot of 4 graves at Shady Side Cemetery. There are no lots available at Maple Shade Cemetery.
Discussion.
Yeah, is there another correction in there? You know, we adjusted these.
Yeah, it was originally going to be 100 and 400. We upped it, I believe, last year. So we went up to 250, which then the 4-pack would be $1,000.
Yeah.
Is there a understand why they put that in there. It's like, one costs this much and four costs this much. How many get a discount?
Is the only change from 100 to 250?
Well, I think it.
No, it was set at 250 last year.
What the correction would be
What
there?
copy do you have? Yeah, it's showing 100.
250 and the 400 becomes 1,000.
Oh, okay. So two corrections.
You get the
And then
Well,
1,000
the rate-
next line, correct?
So we're keeping it at 250 for residents, right?
250.
It's just showing as 100, that's what I'm.
Oh, 1,000.
No, for the four pay. Well, for 250 apiece. Well, you leave that one out by four. That's me. That's a hell of a deal.
So the only thing that changes is the $500 to 1,000.
That's what they're proposing.
from rivals.
That's just a correction. The 400 is
Why is it so much for a township resident for $250?
I complained about it last year, but hey, I'm too late.
I mean, is that the going rate for a resident to have a burial plot? I know for a very long time it was only $75. $100 not bad, but $250 for a grave?
I think they researched it last year, and it's less expensive than 100 years ago.
Well, yeah, you're probably the cheapest. You're the best deal in town.
I'm going to say that those prices went 20 to 30 years without any adjustments whatsoever.
Yeah, they're still cheap. Yeah, I mean, if you look at your Chester or,
Bainbridge.
yeah, Bainbridge, South Russell, yeah.
Yeah, we could have changed to the last property tax.
We still didn't put those.
No, we're. So you get the motion.
It's always your backyard, Patty.
Pardon me?
It's always your backyard.
You know, it's part of the farm.
Okay. I'll second what I think.
So it's going to be 250 and 1,000, right?
Correct.
All right, Riley?
Yes.
EJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Senator, there's none over there. Right. Over here, there's, we bought everything back to the freeway, which needs to be planned out, cleared, some clearing, some roads. Yeah, so we're good for all of them. Good. They're not going to, but they can. We'll probably do those a section at a time, just like we did the rest of the cemetery.
Cost of footers. Motion that all footers will be charged at the rate of $200 for the first 2 square feet and $50 for each additional and/or partial square foot.
Something else adjusted, so I'll second that.
Riley?
Yes.
EJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Road Department Liaison. You said before you read the names in, or does that not apply?
No,
it's
we're going to make
listed,
those,
yeah.
yeah, we're going to make those appointments tonight.
I'll make a motion to PJ Kavanaugh continue as the road department liaison.
I will second.
Thank you.
Riley?
Yes.
EJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Make a motion to have the properties liaison handled by Riley Davis.
I'll second.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
We're going to quiz everybody on these. We're going to take the papers away.
I was looking at that.
Okay. I guess by default, I'll motion myself in as the fire department liaison, which is the only one left.
Second.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. And let's keep going. Firefighters Dependent Fund and board representatives. I'd like to appoint Mr. Kavanaugh and Mr. Davis as representatives of the Auburn Township trustees to the Fire Dependents Fund Board Legislative Authority for 1 year term.
Yeah, I'll second that. Something we hope we never have to do, Riley.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Riley?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. Designated employer representative, currently PJ. Would you like to continue in that position, Mr. Kavanaugh?
Yes, As long as I get my Auburn, yes.
Okay.
I'll second.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Okay. Yes. Designated employer representative alternate. Currently Nancy Dolezal, I'd like to have her continue in that position.
That's what I have, so I'll second that.
Riley,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
What does a DER do?
We administer the alcohol and drug random testing.
Oh, okay.
And there's some updates usually every other year, give or take. Quite honestly, Nancy will be the driver. Yeah.
Take it, you need it? Oh, we're talking about testing.
I'm good. I got this. Yeah, so that's what that's about. Yeah, that's statutorily somewhere.
Okay, Public Records Commission. Board of Trustees of the Fiscal